Greetings and welcome to Disrupt Your Day with Petula Sankarsingh. I am the CEO and founder of VisionReady. Disrupt Your Day brings you the struggles, stories, and success of entrepreneurs to learn from and disrupt your day. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Disrupt Your Day. I am Petula Sankarsingh, your host, and I would love to introduce you guys to our entrepreneur today, who is Kierra. She will share her journey, her story, her struggle, and end with her success. Hey, Kierra, welcome.
Hey, how are you? I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you.
So, tell us, share your story with us, your entrepreneur journey.
Yeah, I love sharing my story. I feel like sometimes we see people of like who they are today, and for me running a brand messaging and mindset coaching practice, and being an author and a speaker and all those things. It's like, okay, but how did you get there, right? So,
Mhm.
for me, I was raised by a single mother. I'm a Jersey girl. I was raised
Yay!
by a single mom, and we had a lot of poverty around us, a lot of violence around us growing up in northern Jersey. And for me, I remember my mother always instilling the importance of education.
Mhm.
So I was like head in the books, all about school. And, I also was a chubby girl. Like since I was 8 years old, I was a chubby girl. And so, I went through that phase of not feeling so confident about myself and my body. And so I just like school and being smart was like my thing. So it's like I just kind of like focused on that. And I feel like a part of me kind of connected that with my identity. Like I need to be the smart one in the family, the smart one in the class, the smart one at home, that kind of thing. And so I put a lot into, being that smart one. And it comes back later in my story. So for me, just kind of going into, that college to corporate career is what I call it, especially when you are raised by a single Black mother. If you are
Mhm.
raised in a space where, your parents, your family wants more for you than they had for themselves.
Mhm.
So I often thought that like, okay, go to college, go into corporate, like that's going to be the thing. And when I get there, I'm going to like make it. And so like in college, I remember having 4 jobs at one time
Oh
just
my
to like,
goodness.
yeah, to make sure I could support myself.
Yeah.
And then being in a space where, I graduated college early. I worked with 3 Fortune 500 companies. The last one, was a company that, I really loved working with. And I felt like I had made it. Like you get in that space, you're like, okay, I got like a successful job. I had a company car, a company credit card. Like I thought I had made, I was traveling,
Mhm.
I was 21 years old and I had a $5 million territory I was responsible for. I grew that by
Mhm.
double digits in less than 12 months.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I have made it. And you know what? I remember our organization went through a reorg. And I remember our only woman of color,
Mhm.
director was a female, was impacted. And
Mhm.
I wasn't impacted from the reorg, but something in that moment, they actually called it Catalyst, was the name of it.
Yeah.
Something in that moment just kind of like woke me up. It was just like, wait, I'm not safe. I thought I had made it. I thought I could just like be here forever. Like I was literally one of those like, you know, generation people in my generation, millennials, who were like, they're like, oh, you're going to change jobs a lot, is what I would always hear. I was like, no, I'm staying here forever. I was like hardcore for my company. And I fell out of love. I fell out of love when I realized how disposable I felt I was. And, it's like we didn't have many on the table to represent us. And now the one that we had, y'all let her go. Like, what? And
Right.
so it just spoke to me like, okay, I want to figure something out, but I didn't really know what it was at the time. And so I also knew that I didn't want to necessarily go immediately into entrepreneurship because I like steak, I like sushi, I like to travel. So I was like, okay, I don't want to leave my job yet. I don't even know what I'm leaving for. I don't even know what I'm doing. I
Right.
just know that there's something else. It kind of like it woke up that little girl in me who was like, who
Mm.
did you want to be? Like, what did you want to do? And so I remember, at the time I was living actually in the Midwest in Minnesota. And, I was like, I'm ready to get back to the East Coast. I missed my family. And so I took a position in New York. I had never even heard of upstate New York, but I was like, I don't even care. This was the only place I moved to that I didn't even come visit. And I was just like, I'm ready to get on the East Coast. So I moved here and, getting into this new position, I actually took a demotion, for lack of better words. Like I took I didn't have the level increase that I should have had at that time. And so I came in this position, I was killing it. And it wasn't like some like ego, like, oh, you're killing it. No, it was like black and white paper. Our largest customer sent a letter to my manager, to his manager, to his manager. Like, she is the best consultant we've had. I was the only woman on my team at that time. I was the only Black person on my team at that time. And every time I walked into that client's, office, it was always old white men. Like, let's just be clear. And so,
nice.
for them to send that up the ladder, it was like, wait, why did I take a demotion to come here? Just because I wanted to be near my family. Like, I was being punished for like wanting to be near my family. And so, I remember talking to my HR department, talking to my management team, and it was like, well, Kierra, you have to be here for 12 months because of this piece of paper. Right. And that lit this fire. And I was just like, okay, between the catalyst and between this, I remember coming home, I had like mascara running. I probably had like a not so nice nose, snotty nose and all that. I was crying in front of the mirror. And I was just like, I looked in the mirror and I was like, I'm this girl who, was the first person to go to college in my family. I had 4 jobs at one time in college. Like, I put myself here. I did all of this to get to this space. And, when did I become this person who let somebody else tell me who I could be? And so that was the moment where I didn't know what it was going to be, but I said, I'm going to try something. And so, I wanted to still be full-time in my business, or excuse me, in my job. So I said, you know what? Let me just figure out what I want to do. And long story short, I ended up starting an online boutique, which was what introduced me to the online space. And as soon as I started, I hired a coach, a retail SEO coach for my product-based business. And I was like, wait, this is what you do in coaching? And I was like, I do this every day in my consulting job, like in my job at work. And I was like, this is what you do? And immediately I was like, oh my gosh, like, I am meant to be a coach. I feel like I've been coaching since I was 7 years old, I say, and everything just aligned. So that was in 2014 when those like inner feelings started. 2015, I started the business. 2016, I added in coaching and I went full time, and I've been full time since 2016.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So, there was a fire lit under you. And I feel like we as women of color experience things like this. This is not the first time I've heard this. And even my journey myself, running a nonprofit as an executive director, in Chicago, and my whole entire board was an old boys club, right? Just a bunch of men, no women on the board, which thank goodness that's changing now, and no one of color. And then you have me coming in and I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? And it's weird because they didn't look at me as that authority figure. They looked at me as, oh, this island girl who's pretty. So you're gonna just work with you. So the level of respect wasn't there. And I feel you. I like so feel you when you tell your story, because it came to the point where I just got so burned out of dealing with it. It was a struggle. It was a struggle. Even though you're in a high position, you're making changes, you're trying to do the better for everyone. And it just wasn't a fair playing field. So with that said, did you take some time after your shift to work on your confidence, work on just your shift from that career corporate world into your own?
Absolutely. Even right now, as I think back, because we're going into the 6th year. So it's like, well, it's like, I'm such, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, wait a minute. Okay. This is live because I literally, TMI, I was in the shower and I was having a conversation with myself, as I do.
Hey, those are the best places.
Aren't they? Listen, the shower in the car. And I literally, I honestly teared up this morning, like didn't even connect it to this moment. But you asking me that makes me think about it. Like, I teared up this morning because I was thinking, like, October of 2021 was, when we stepped into year 6. And so for me, it was just in a space of like, wow, like I've been doing this, and I've become a different person. And one thing I want to say, because I talk to my clients about this, I have a thing about people saying like, you need to be someone different to like get to whatever level you want. And I used to hear that a lot. And for me, it didn't resonate. And what I mean by that for me is that it felt like I had to be someone different. Like, okay, so I'm not enough in who I am to have this or to do this or to be this. And for women of color, being in a space where we feel like we need to be someone different is often something that holds us back. And so for me, what I started to speak was, I just need to be a deeper version of who I always was meant to be. So I was having this tear moment this morning of just like, I am a deeper version of myself, right? I'm different, but it's really just me tapping in deeper with me. And so when you ask the question of like, what did I do? Yeah, I mean, thinking back, so one, I would say first, it's you, like for me, having that mirror moment, get in the mirror and look at yourself. And not your lashes and your hair and your makeup and your this, because we can take all it off. Yes. Right. But really look at yourself and see yourself. And that was the moment I had that like started all of this, was like, I looked at myself and I was like, wait, I feel like I'm worthy of something more. I feel like I'm here to do something more than what I'm doing. I am letting someone make millions of dollars off of my shine. What? And we didn't do that at. Like, that's not, So that was like one thing. And so because of that, I believe I also was afraid of that. Like I was powerful in it, but I also was like nervous. Like, I don't even know what this is, and uncertainty. So I actually did get a coach. I had a mindset coach. I had a session with her, and she was from Canada, and I just connected with her. And so I kept working with her. And I actually remember working with her in my corporate career that last year. And I remember saying, I wanted to save like $10,000. I was like, okay, it'll take me 9 months to save $10,000. Actually, before that, it was then it became 9 months. And literally within like 2 weeks, we had I think it was 3 weeks. We had a call, and I was like, nope, 2 weeks, put in the 2 weeks or 2 weeks, but after that. And so I was just like, it just went so fast. And that was just a testament of me working with her. So yes, I got a mindset coach but it starts with you making that decision of wanting something different. That's all you need. A lot of people think that they need to have everything figured out. All you need to have is the want. And then I got the mindset coach to support me, because I was like, okay, I'm freaking out because I don't really know what to do and how to do it. Right. If I can do it, all that. So that was one thing. And I would say since then, over these couple of years, it's the thing that keeps evolving for me is going deeper into what I know that I'm worthy of. Even 3 years in, when we bought this house, I sat in this office with my boxes, and like the rest of the house was unpacked. I had boxes in my office because it was really this like, am I really here? Like, can I really unpack my boxes? Is this really our house? Like, it was some doubt still going on. And even now I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the next house. Like, I'm ready. And so, being in this space of like allowing ourselves to up level in life, I think is an important conversation for us as women to have. And, mindset work, therapy. I go to a therapist every other week. I get excited to go to my therapist. I take myself out on a date after my therapist session. I'll be with my therapist on Friday, yeah, I would definitely say the mindset work, if there's therapy work that you need, like that goes deeper, then get that. But definitely working on seeing myself different and seeing myself deeper, but seeing myself through a different lens, than what the world wants me to see myself. And wants me to allow myself to have, was like the thing that really like started all this. Everything else just adds on to that. Yeah. But really just starting with like really seeing yourself.
That's amazing. I love it. Love it. Especially when you say, mirror work is so powerful. So oh my God, so powerful. When you say I'm worthy, I'm worthy. That's very powerful words, to build on your confidence, to move forward. And that fear sits within all of us. Yeah. Like, if I leave this weekly paycheck, what's going to come? How's we get that chaos in our head, right? And like you said, overthinking. And I do encourage people to, as you did, get a coach, therapy is a good thing. I don't know why people look at it as a bad thing. You know what I mean? To just help yourself, it's about helping yourself because no one else will, right? Like be your biggest fan, right? This is
Mhm.
so amazing. So what would you tell someone who's making that shift now that because right now they're saying, Microsoft just did a article and some statistics that uh what 500 million people are not going back to their job, being at home and being remote. People are now appreciating their time, their value in their life. They're like now like I do all this for someone else. Now I can do this for me. And there's this huge shift going on. So I do foresee a lot of new entrepreneurs coming on. And what advice would you give someone who's now shifting from that corporate world into now their dream or something that they want to do, their self-worth, right?
Yeah. Man, so the first thing I would say is just to ground yourself and knowing that you get to take action, and through that action you will learn more than being in a bunch of research. Because I see a lot of people who like go into, I've had clients, you know, do all this research and have all the sticky notes and the journals and the notebooks and all the things, and it's like, but what are you going to do with that, boo? Because like you doing the action is
Yes,
what allows you to see this worked, this didn't
I
work,
love
etc.
that.
So I say first, like, you know, get some clarity for sure,
Mm,
but be in a space of like, okay, I'm committed to taking action on this thing even if it doesn't work. I think a lot of times we're afraid to fail. We look at it as failing instead of this thing is giving me a lesson to pivot me into the next thing. That's the only reason why we know what to tweak and to change, is because we do it,
yes.
we figure out information, we assess it, we go change it. So be in a space of action, number one. Two, get clarity, whether that means you getting a coach, whether that means you masterminding with some of your girlfriends,
Yes.
whatever that looks like, doing if it does include research, then yeah, let research be a part of that. I'm not saying don't do research. It's just that like when you do the research, go do something with it. So I would say number two is clarity.
Mhm.
For me, when I first started the coaching side of my business,
Mhm.
literally, I see people who spend like months and months and years like, oh, I didn't sign a client yet, or I haven't made money yet, or I'm still this level. And for me, I did my first, $10,000 in the first 90 days. And
Mhm.
I
Good
didn't
for
have a
you.
website. I didn't have a website for 6 months. I had made 30 to $50,000 before I even made a website. And, for me, I tell people, listen, you need to be very clear on what it is that you do,
Mhm.
right? Have your core message, who's your core client, and be committed to going out and speaking that message and selling one thing. And that was it for me. I had two offers and I had a message and I had a voice. So I'm just going to put that voice out. I'm going to be on your, if you want me on your show, if you want me to do something in your group, if you want me to, I'm going to post on social media. I'm going to do videos for me live, Facebook. Like I feel like when I say like, oh, I've been around since before Facebook Live, but when Facebook Live came out, I just used Facebook Live and it had just come out and it was new and all the things. And so we had a Periscope exist back then too, so there's so many platforms where you literally can turn your phone on and you can just share your message. And so that's why I'm always an advocate of wherever you are, whatever level you're at in your business. I don't care if you're at $0, if you are at 7 figures, like having your core message and continuing to elevate that is so important. So I would say, number one, first be committed to, I'm going to take action and know that I'm going to learn more. You're not going to get it all perfect on day one, but know that through action, you're going to be able to assess and improve it. To get clarity. And those clarity points would be, what is my core message? Who am I speaking to and what am I selling? What do I do for them? What are you selling? What's at least one thing that you're offering to them? Just not 10 and 15, because I had made that mistake at one time. Just what's one or two things that I'm going to sell right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, be committed to showing up and selling that. It's I hate to say it that it's not that hard, but it's not that hard. We make it complicated when we try to bring our
Yes.
perfectionism
Yes.
in. I need
Yes.
a website. I need business cards. I need this and I need that. You literally can go speak to a potential client right now and sign them. And the other thing I would say is the last thing, specifically from corporate,
Yes.
because a lot of my clients are coming from a space where you have some type of expertise. I have a running joke, but no one's proven me wrong. I always bet people $1,000 on this. I can turn, like, anybody could be a consultant. any skill set that I don't care what it is. I've had people ask me the most random things. You can turn that into a consulting service. People literally are just paying you for your advice on something. So especially when you are in corporate, and that's where, for me, this really worked. For me, I had experience in sales. So what am I already doing? What do I already know that I'm good at? Even if I feel like I'm still trying to find my purpose, because a lot of people will let that hinder them. I don't know my purpose yet. Well, what do you do that's really good? Let's start going back to my first point. Start there, take action on that. And so as you come from corporate, what have you done that you're really good at that you would enjoy doing for other people? It could be web design. It could be, you can be a baking consultant. If you worked in restaurants all your life, you could go consult a restaurant. You can go consult in hair salon. I mean, I have consultants and coach clients and speaker clients from like all different spaces, things that I've never even thought about, like sex coaches and consultants, like consultants for so many different things. So those would be some of my points. Stay in action, get clarity, be really clear and focus on who you're selling to, what your message is, be committed to showing up with that. Sell one or two things, not so many. And, take your expertise and what it is that you're really great at and just use that to start. You'll be able to pivot and learn from there.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I love it. I love it. I feel like I could talk to you forever.
I know,
right? So success to everyone is different, right? It could be, hey, I got 5 workouts in this week, or, however you're relating it to within yourself and your business. So how would you define success?
Yeah, well, success today is I'm drinking this is a 4-cup bottle of a glass bottle of water. So that's one of my successes.
Oh my God, I got to get better with that, by the way.
I know. Yesterday I did 6, so I'm proud. I wanted to do a full 8, but it's okay. We did 6. That's cool with me. So for me, I would say I would have answered this question very different years ago. Success very much was tied to the money that I made in my business and where my business was and all of these things. And long story short, my now fiance, but my boyfriend at the time, we separated because years ago, because he didn't know how to, I didn't know, and he didn't know, how do I be an entrepreneur and have the business? And he knew me when I was an employee, and, my lifestyle's a little different as an entrepreneur. So we just didn't know how to make that work. And so we separated, never thought we'd be back together. And, we took a year break. I moved to the beach. I was just living my life. And then we just reconnected and we got to know each other as who we were in that moment and build our friendship again. And we just fell in love again. And so for me, that the reason I say that is because my values have shifted. This may be new to some people. I teach about this. I talk about this. I believe in this. My number one currency in my business is energy. So when I tell my clients that, they're like, wait, what? Yes. So money and time are secondary, right? Yeah, we start an entrepreneur, journey. Like we can have freedom with our time and we can have freedom with our money and all that. But for me, I want freedom with my energy. I want to work with who I want to work with. So that's what success is to me. Having the freedom of working with who I want to work with. I can charge what I want. If I want to raise or increase in my income, I ain't got to wait for the 2% annual increase. I could go just raise the price of my thing tomorrow. So being in a space where my energy is really guiding me and who I connect with, how I connect with them, how I show up. If I want to work, if I need to take a little break, so that for me is success and having that ownership of my energy and protecting it. And, yes, it's financial success and all the things, but for me, if I'm energetically fulfilled and in a space that feels true and right for me, everything else aligns. The money aligns, I can't not talk about financial stability. It feels amazing. It feels amazing that you can have multiple accounts and, they got 5-6 figures in them. Like that does feel good. And so I'm grateful for that. But I know that, the house, I'm not big on cars, so that is not a thing. Like I care more about like my shower and my house than what my car looks like. But that's me. Like the cars is your thing. It's your thing. Like, I talk about the word luxury energy with my clients. Like luxury energy is really like what makes you feel amazing. I don't care what I paid for a shirt. If it feels amazing, it feels amazing. So I think sometimes we have success connected with money and we don't even understand that actually blocks it. Because you're really just you're taking on other people's standards and shoulds and success points as yours when your body energetically sees success in a different way. And so for me, it really goes back to energy, and that just opens the floodgates for clients, the money, the success points and all the things that value to me. So for me, number one is my energy currency.
Love it. I mean, I tell you, you're just speaking to me, girl. Because I'm
Listen.
about that too. I tell people all the time, I was like, it's not about that. It's about the energy. It's about connecting. Not everyone's going to be like in that same space, but it's okay. I really, really love it. Well, oh my God, I feel like I can go on and on with you. We'll probably have to circle back and do another one of these.
And
But I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your
thank
journey.
you.
I definitely feel there was so much learning points and tips for new entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs now in their own space, a lot of people are too much in their head. Thank you for sharing what your pillars of what you think that people should just go after, your core message, clarity. This is just like amazing. So really appreciate it. So what I like to do is, a lot of people don't know, I'm also a certified sommelier, right? So I like to match a wine varietal with everyone's personality and their business. And I want people to know it's not about the alcohol. It's about the journey, the growing of the grape and the vineyards and that process, as well as the journey as an entrepreneur. So today, for you, I actually did a Chardonnay grape varietal. And the reason why I did that, because I feel like you're very passionate, stylish, you ooze confidence. And that's kind of like what that grape is. It's a recognizable, it's bold, it's flavorful, that kind of thing. And I feel that that's you, that's your business. You're like in your core message, right? You embrace the things and people you love and are up to date with the latest trends. You also are confident in your own choices as well. So
Ooh,
that's my take on you and your personality.
thank
What
you.
yes.
I'll be walking around telling people I'm Chardonnay today. You can just call me
Right.
Chardonnay.
Amazing. So to end today, I would like to do a toast with you. I'm a huge red wine
Yay.
person. Oh, yay.
I'm
So
a sweet, so I like Moscato. Like I'm like a
oh
sweeter
yeah,
girl.
yeah, good, good, good. So cheers to you,
Thank you so
Kierra.
much.
Mm. And wishing you all the success in the world. As our tagline says, success is like a hangover. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And thank you everyone for tuning in.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening. Make sure and subscribe to our podcast. For the latest entrepreneur buzz, sign up for our e-newsletter. Link in description. Remember, success is like a hangover. Cheers.